What if the most beautiful voice in folk music masked one of its most haunted souls? What if the woman you thought was a gentle genius was also the architect of her own isolation? Today, something changed. A revelation. Shocking not because of how loud it was, but because of who said it. Graham Nash. Her former lover, songwriting partner, and confidant has finally broken his silence. And what he said didn't just disrupt the myth of Joni Mitchell, it tore a hole through it. He didn't spill gossip, he pulled back the curtain, and what he revealed is not just a painful love story, but a deeper truth. The legend of Joni Mitchell may be missing its darkest verses. Rewind to 1968, Laurel Canyon, a paradise for artists, lovers, and revolutionaries. At the center of it all, Joni Mitchell and Graham Nash, the golden couple of folk rock. But while the world saw romance, poetry, and harmony, behind closed doors, something more dangerous was growing. Joni wasn't just brilliant, she was unpredictable. One moment, radiant and tender. The next, gone without warning, cold, cutting. She didn't want a partner, Nash later said. She wanted freedom, at any cost. He left his band, the Hollies, and crossed the ocean for her. But Joni, she drifted further, into her own world of genius and fire. She didn't want to be someone's muse. She wanted to burn everything that tethered her. Joni Mitchell's genius was real, but so was her rage. She could write lyrics that stopped your heart, and then tear someone to shreds with the same pen. Friends walked on eggshells. Collaborators disappeared, not from scandal, but from emotional exhaustion. She clashed with Crosby, mocked Dylan, dismissed Baez, and once reduced Stevie Nicks to tears backstage with a single stinging comment. "You're not a songwriter," she allegedly snapped. "You're a witchy groupie." She didn't just refuse to play nice, she didn't believe she should have to. Her art was sacred. Her mood swings, legendary. Recording sessions were battlegrounds. Producers left, musicians quit. But Joni? She just kept creating, at any cost. Her private life was even more complicated. In 1965, before fame, she gave up a daughter for adoption, a decision she kept hidden for decades. The grief never left. It seeped into her lyrics, her trust issues, her relationships. She was estranged from her family, rarely returned to her hometown. She built walls and called them boundaries. Later, as health problems worsened, particularly after her battle with Morgellons disease, she grew even more isolated. Doctors didn't believe her. Friends drifted. She pushed everyone away. To survive, she turned pain into poetry. But the more she created, the more alone she became. The myth of Joni Mitchell is full of beauty. But the truth? It's full of scars. Yes, she gave us Blue, A Case of You, Both Sides Now. But for every masterpiece, there was a moment of destruction behind it. Graham Nash didn't just lose her. He watched her transform pain into performance and never looked back. Crosby, Dylan, Baez, Nicks, each walked away bruised. Not because Joni was cruel, but because Joni demanded everything. Perfection, autonomy, obedience to the song, even if it cost friendships, lovers, or peace. So how do we remember her now? As a tortured genius? A brilliant, impossible force? Or as a woman who sacrificed connection to chase a sound that only she could hear? Maybe it's all true. Maybe the silence in her songs, the space between chords, wasn't just artistic. Maybe it was protective. Because when the applause faded and the lights dimmed, Joni wasn't surrounded by friends. She was surrounded by walls. Today's revelation doesn't erase her art, it deepens it. Now when we listen to her music, we hear more. Not just melody, but the loneliness behind it, the emotional cost of every lyric, the trail of burned bridges behind every masterpiece. For decades, we adored the sound. Now we understand the silence that followed. So here's the real question. Was Joni Mitchell a misunderstood icon, a firebrand genius ahead of her time? Or was she simply a woman who knew she could only make something eternal by sacrificing everything temporary? Let us know what you believe. And if this gave you a deeper understanding of the legend behind the lyrics, subscribe, share, and keep listening. Because the story of Joni Mitchell isn't just sung, it's felt in the echoes of what was never said.